There's still a lot we don't know about the PlayStation 5. In fact, the stuff that Sony told us in his lecture for GDC really doesn't affect the consumer that much. It was obviously for developers. I think most of us understand that. But still, there are a lot of things that we're trying to figure out, like what's the big game going to be at launch for the PlayStation 5? Is it like the next Horizon Zero Dawn? Is it Blue Point's remake? I mean, what is Blue Point even really working on right now, right? Is it Demon's Souls? I don't know. But the PS5 is still very, very popular, even though we don't even know what the thing looks like. So much so that whenever these price listings go up, it seems like so many places report on it, write about it, talk about it, and it spreads like wildfire. And a lot of times those will be sent to me on Twitter constantly. I think this most recent one, I got like 20 or 30 messages about it, and I laughed when I first saw it, and I'll tell you why. It's actually from a company that I had worked with prior, because it was for a franchisee who had broken away from this chain, and they still use the system that this place uses to order, and that is Play and Trade. Now, what's happened here is the PlayStation 5 has placeholder listings that go up all the time online. But I guess this one is getting a little closer to it being like a GameStop or even, I guess, a Best Buy that lists it. This is from Play and Trade Vancouver. And what they did was they posted this here that does talk about them taking pre-orders at $559 Canadian. And if you take that and you convert it over to the United States dollar, it comes out to $400. It's a pretty good deal for a PlayStation 5. Now, I will say, I am under the opinion right now that the PlayStation 5 could indeed be $400, which goes against the grain a little bit, as I think a lot of people are expecting $500 now, but I don't know. I kind of feel like Sony might have this big surprise that it is a cheaper system than we were expecting. And really, when I was looking at that GDC conference, the thing that Cerny did where he talked about all kinds of crazy stuff, shapes of ears, all this. Yeah. It sounded a lot like they were very cost conscious when they made this thing. Like they were talking about 825 gigabytes of onboard storage. And it's like, what? All right, the Series X did 1 terabyte and you're doing 825. They talked about how it's variable frequency and how it only needs to be as powerful as it can be when it is needed, rather than the Series X pushing over 12 teraflops constantly and all this stuff. And I just got the idea that Sony was going in the direction of it's as powerful as we can make it, with a certain price in mind. And I do think that price is $400. So I don't think this is out of the realm of possibility. What I do think is out of the realm of possibility is Play and Trade knowing about the pricing or release date at all. Because when I use the system, they would have placeholder dates for everything, all kinds of wild stuff, and they'd have placeholder pricing. When the PS4 Pro was coming out, they at one point thought it was coming out in the summertime for like $600 or something. So I will tell you this. If you see any placeholder date right now or placeholder price for the PlayStation 5, most likely the retailer is guessing. That's just it, straight up. And what I see right now are a lot of sites that will see this, and maybe because it's Play and Trade and they're like, oh, that's kind of like GameStop, they're thinking they must have knowledge of this, right? Not necessarily. I mean, seriously, the system, first off, and I remember the back end for ordering was all over the place as it was. Like it wasn't as professional as people seem to imagine these things, but it was certainly like there were times where like they were trying to penny out Maddens, right? So they were like a penny, but then there were times where certain games, I don't know if it's because they didn't have them and they couldn't take them out of the system or what, were like thousands of dollars. It was wacky. I'll say that, but I don't think they have any knowledge of the PlayStation 5 for pricing. What I think this is them just wanting to get a pre-order page up where they can take your money and lock you in. And it is going to be smart to pre-order the system when we can, specifically when Sony tells us we can pre-order, not when just a chain tells us we can pre-order. No. That will most likely happen in June. Okay, around when E3 would have been. We should get pricing from Microsoft and Sony. There's always a possibility that either one goes before that now that E3 is strange now. It's up in the air, digital, who knows what it'll be. Plans are in flux now. Sony wasn't going to go anyway, though, so maybe they already had the idea to drop the news earlier in like May. But eventually we'll get an event for the PS5 they'll show games, they'll show pricing, all that stuff will take place, and eventually Microsoft will tell us about the Series X pricing. At that point, pre-orders were open, and that's when you decide where you want to pick it up from, okay? So keep that in mind, and with the current pandemic right now, there is a chance there will be less PS5s and Series X than there were for previous console launches, so you will certainly want to pre-order whichever system you want. But I just want to cover that because every time these things happen, I get a ton of messages about it, and I just wanted to explain to you, especially Play and Trade. When I saw that pop up, again, it's pretty funny. But yes, right now they're all guessing. They're all throwing up pre-order pages to try to get your money, so keep that in mind. Thanks, guys, for watching. Make sure you like the video on the way out if you enjoyed it. Dislike it if not, and I'll see you next time.